Hi everybody, in this video we're going to talk about another element of consumer behavior. What reasons do people use to buy something? What kind of behaviors? What's going on in people's minds when they're making a decision to buy? And today we're going to talk about consistency. Okay, consistency is a very important characteristic of human beings that you can make use of when trying to market and sell to somebody. Okay, so it's an important part of helping you to understand and encourage people to buy your products. Okay, so let's dive straight in and we'll take a look. So we're all about how to harness this principle of consistency. And the principle is based on the idea that people, if they've done something once with you, they're likely to do it again because they're comfortable, they're more comfortable. Trust issues are very, very important to overcome when it comes to consumer behavior. So from a marketing point of view, you have to make it very easy for people to start doing something with you in order to encourage them to continue to do things and then ultimately move on to the point of purchasing. But let's continue. How consistency influences decision making. Well, first, consumers favor decisions that align with their previous behavior, with their previous actions. So like I said, if they've already done something and they got a positive experience out of it, they're likely to do it again. So if they've had a positive experience with your company, they're likely to come back to repeat the process because they don't want to, there's a risk of going somewhere else, right? If they already like you and happy with your product and your customer service, then they're more likely to come back. They're going to start building loyalty with you. And also, if you are going to come back to somebody you've already bought something from in the past, it's less effort. Sorry, I nearly knocked a bottle over. It's less effort. It's less mental effort. And, humans like to get to the quickest solution. So we're a little bit lazy, aren't we? So you think, I bought it from them before, I'll go and do it again. All right, because it's easy. All right. And it helps. And this is, it's the last point here on the slide. By being consistent over time with a particular set of factors, it gives them some identity, right? So we see this with brands, right? If with the likes of Coca-Cola or Virgin or Nike, etc. Nike's a good example because it's a fashion example. If you're getting into the Nike family and you start buying their products and services and it looks good and it becomes part of your identity and you need to show off to other people that you only wear Nike, for example. That's consistent with how you've built up your own private identity and how you allow others to perceive you. And it's easy to follow that if you're getting positive feedback from that. So if you take into account these three neurological behaviors, you can start to see how consistency can be very powerful. Self-image, like I said, is an important part. So if you have a certain way you want to behave and a certain way you want to look, you're going to align with brands that support that. And once you've started investing in that brand, you're going to want to continue. And so how you believe in how people are perceiving you and your self-identity, and you're getting social confirmation from the people around you who are also doing the same thing, it reduces the barriers for people to buy, for that person to buy more products and services. So from a company point of view, if you can tap into the latest trends and demonstrate to people when your products and services fit in with their self-identity, and you've got social confirmation of that, it's a really powerful set of factors to help your business take off. Of course, there's an art to getting to that point, and that's something we'll discuss in the future. It makes people, people like doing what other people are doing. So, it's almost like tribal, right? It goes back to working prehistoric times when we were all in tribes trying to survive. It's people like working in packs, in groups, camaraderie, a team effort, teamwork, families, supporters of a sports team. They all go out and buy their sports team's merchandise. Tapping into that consistency of behavior and a confirmation that the people you're hanging out with also support that behavior. So it reduces the friction and makes it much easier to come back and buy more. If people are facing discomfort, what we call cognitive dissonance, because they're facing inconsistency, then people are going to resist that. Okay, they want to go back to a consistent behavior because it's more comfortable. They're already trusting something. They want to go back to doing the same thing. So there is a move from being uncomfortable to comfortable, and to do that you need to restore consistency. So if your product and your brand is always innovating and people are enjoying it, and there's social proof of people enjoying it, and people and all their friends are being involved in the same brand, if they do get disrupted at some point, they're going to want to come back in. Majority of people, of course, you always get outliers, people who want to start new trends, but the majority of people want to stay in their comfort zone and come back to the most comfortable position and restore the consistency of what they were doing before. So what are the key mechanisms for driving consistency effects then? Concept called commitment escalation from small to large items. As a company, we need to develop foot in the door techniques, right? It's something that's very easy for people to do to get to start to know what your brand is all about. So provide motivation and rewards for signing up to your brand. So it could be signing up to the newsletter and getting some kind of discount. Download your app to get some kind of discount. Whatever it might be. It's just to give away a lot of information and discounted products to get people to try your product. Okay, you're not going to make money on it, but you're trying to get people to experience your brand, overcome the trust barriers, and then they'll start acting more consistently with your brand. So you need easy foot in the door techniques to get people in. And once people have tried these smaller things, they're much more likely to go for the bigger ones because they've experienced your brand now, and assuming you're doing a good job, right? And they got a positive reaction to working with you, to buying your products and using your services, they're likely to come back for the bigger products and services which are more profitable. And that's really, really important, the concept of upselling in the future. Okay, they've experienced what you've done, they enjoyed it, now you have that opportunity to upsell. This is really, really important. What we want is to get people to form habits and reinforce that behavior. Okay, so when people come and experience your brand, you want to be able to repeat that process in a consistent way, starting small and gradually building up, because we want to reinforce that behavior, we want to encourage it. So more rewards, gamification of what you're doing, give people targets to achieve, starting at a very easy level and moving gradually upwards. Lots of great quality free advice and information. Okay. Once again, reinforcing behavior. And then you can move to your big products and services, which are the most profitable. Self-image, okay, is, like I said, people are more likely to buy products and services that give a positive change to their self-image and identity. Okay, so they will come back to that reinforcement behavior will act on them to come back and repeat that behavior. Yeah, I've said it before. So your branding and your services, if it matches the identity of what your potential clients want to be represented as, they're going to come back again and again and again. Okay. So what marketing strategies can be used to leverage consistency? So once again, small initial commitments, low friction requests. So things like signing up to a newsletter, downloading the app, as I said, making commitments to people, small commitments to encourage engagement, give little gifts, get people to complete quizzes, get people with potential rewards, give away free products and services, all of these things to get people to begin to commit to your brand. Okay, it's, you've got to provide a low hurdle at the beginning. Okay, there's no point putting a 10-foot wall in front of people when they haven't touched your brand. All right, because they're just not going to bother, because the friction is too high. Right, you've got to get little entryways to get people to experience your brand. And then as I said before, once again, and you have to repeat this, because small, consistent movements and gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger, and will lead to bigger purchases in the future. So one of the things you can do, and this is one of the beautiful powers of the internet and automation, okay, the tools are now available and have been for some time, if you're not aware, for people to sign up, to receive more information about your products and services, and you can reward them for doing so. And this whole process can now be automated. It can be done through email, it can be done through WhatsApp, it can be done through SMS. There are many, many ways of doing it. And you can build a pre-sequence of steps that are automatically running once somebody signs up to get the initiation. So you take them to your website, you reward them for filling out a form with their name, mobile number, and email, and they'll start a journey on a predefined process or workflow that will send messages to them about what's going on, okay, with your company. So the news, offers, and more, okay. And yeah, some people will unsubscribe, but the majority of people will stay with it. And once you've overcome that those initial small hurdles, they'll stick with you, and a percentage of people who receive these messages will commit to some kind of action, like buying a product or service. It's, and being consistent and having excellent customer service behind that consistency. So if something goes wrong, because it invariably does, like a product gets delivered and it's damaged, absolutely make sure you solve that problem really quickly, because your reputation is critical. Okay, so make sure that you provide the services in a quality and a consistent manner, and then we can move forward. Okay. So here's the examples I've been talking about. Opt-ins to email, lots of free trials, interactive quizzes, gamification, and loyalty programs. These are all classic ways of building up commitment. Okay, it's really, really, really important to do this, because consistent small actions will build up a commitment to your brand and will lead to bigger sales in the future. So these are the tools that we use online and in marketing, and using automation to help move that forward. So here's some examples. Excuse me. Spotify has a free trial to a paid subscription strategy. So if you download a Spotify app, you can listen to as much music as you like. You get ads thrown in, but after a while, they'll start promoting the sign up. And if you sign up to the monthly subscription plan, then you get access to personalized lists and things and other types of value added. Okay, but they give you all the music to play interspersed with ads before you at the beginning, so you get a good taster. So it's a free trial effectively, but runs on for as long as you want, and it encourages you to experience the brand, the quality, the range, the breadth of music, and gets you interested in maybe signing up for more. By putting automated workflows behind that, you can prod these people on a regular basis to sign up to the full subscription, and which is what they do. The whole process is automated once you sign up. This is a very good example. Amazon, okay, so Amazon looks at your past purchasing behavior, the consistency behind it, and looks at where you're browsing the shop, and from there it provides recommendations and suggestions for products you might be interested in. There was even a trial at one point in the US where they'd actually send you products, and you hadn't even requested for them to be purchased. So it was a trial. I don't think it worked out in the end, but they would send a product they thought you might be interested in. You could return it if you weren't interested, but what a powerful idea. Right? It didn't work out, I believe. I don't think it moved forward, but they tried it, okay, because they believed they could predict the kind of things you would really, really want in the future. Okay, perhaps they went too far with that example, but it shows you the power of data, analyzing data and using AI to predict what you might want next. A lot of time we go onto a shop, we're trying to buy a product, e-commerce product in an e-commerce system to sell like Amazon, and you choose the product but you don't commit. So it's what we call the shopping cart is abandoned, right? So people like Amazon and the other big retailers will start sending you a sequence of reminders that you have forgotten to pay for that product, and they might adjust the price to encourage you to purchase that product. They might suggest to you that the product is scarce and about to run out of stock, all of these kind of things, just to encourage you to switch over. And it's trying to reinforce the consistent behavior of what you've done before with that on Amazon, for example. Because it's easier to persuade an existing customer to purchase again than it is to get a brand new customer. And it's cheaper to do so as well, hence more profitable. Existing customers are always more profitable than new customers. Practical applications for marketeers with these techniques. So we have to initiate simple, low-friction requests to get people onto our platforms. Okay, signing up to newsletters and give some kind of bonus, some kind of reward for doing so. Small things that just don't take a lot of time and get people involved. And then you start the process from there. Aligning your marketing language with the identity of your target market. Understanding who your target consumer is and what do they want, what are their behaviors, and tuning your marketing messages to match that identity. Because as I said before at the beginning of the presentation, people want to express their identity and they want to do it in a consistent manner because it's low friction. They can't be bothered to go somewhere else. And as long as they're getting positive, good feelings from it, they'll keep doing it. You have to be able to tap into that. You have to build your brand, the affinity of your brand with your customers. And you have to be very careful that you don't step away from that messaging. Otherwise, more than likely, you'll see a drop in sales. Reinforcing past actions, all right? So we need to track what's going on. So for example, Amazon knows everything you're doing on their website. And you have to do the same. You have to have tools and platforms available now to understand how people are interacting with your website. You need to understand that to reinforce and help people make buying decisions. Okay, you need to motivate consistent engagement with your platform, with your brand. And the technology is there to do it. We didn't have this before, but one of the most beautiful things about the internet is it's essentially a very low powered and massively connected mechanism for delivering products or services. It's cheap, relatively, compared to others, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So it's the only way to do it practically these days, almost, to sell products and services. So to conclude, we need consistency to help build trust, to reinforce our brand identities. We need to try to influence consumer behavior by encouraging consumers to repeat, but to get them on board initially, we need to provide low entry points, very easy steps to get them on board. We need to provide that consistency to drive engagement and loyalty, use gamification and reward systems to encourage people to come back. And that will all lead to sustained business growth. You remember, human beings, at the end of the day, they don't want to be in pain. And if they're getting positive engagement from you, people are lazy. They won't go somewhere else. They'll just keep buying from you, buying from you, buying from you. A classic case is Amazon, right? I mean, there were multitudes of bookshops around the world. Amazon came in, and their whole delivery and customer service system was so much better than anybody else's, and the price of the books as well. It was triple whammy for traditional bookshops. Of course, traditional bookshops haven't completely disappeared. There's still a lot of examples of that out there, but Amazon has absolutely dominated the market, and has also, moved to other products. It's the world's online shop, Amazon, right? Or from providing a better service at a cheaper price. Okay, so, and removing a lot of the friction from buying books in the past. Great. Okay, so that's a classic example. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was useful, and we'll be back soon with another. Thank you. Cheers.